Hey, this is Lydia Cornell from Too Close for Comfort and Curb Your Enthusiasm and Full House, Knight Rider 18, Dukes of Hazzard, hundreds of other shows. And I want you to join 30 Minutes Live with CDP every Wednesday and Friday night on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm going to be on the show soon too. Love, Chris.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Live with CDP podcast on this Friday, November 12th, which is hard to believe. It's already November's almost half over. But thanks again, everybody, for coming on and watching Live with CDP podcast. Looking forward to my podcast this afternoon with my guest, Shauna Brown. She is a singer, songwriter, model, and actress from the Toronto area. And I really appreciate Shauna giving us a little bit of time today to talk about her career. And if you guys can give me 1 second, I will bring her on. And I used the Toronto background since she was from Toronto on here as well. So just give me 1 second, guys. And I'm going to bring Shauna Brown on. Hello, how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Good, good. How's your day been going?
It's going pretty well, actually. It's one of those good days. My daughter doesn't have school today, so I got to sleep in a little bit. So it was good.
Oh yeah, sleep is nice to get when you can get it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I decided to use the Toronto background for you since you're from Toronto.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, actually, I live in Brampton, but I'm close enough to Toronto, yes, to say that I'm from Toronto. Yeah, I love it. It's a great background.
Well, yeah, and no problem. And like I had Mike Rossi on the other day, the Maple Leafs PA announcer, and I used a Scotiabank Arena. So I try to do my backgrounds for each guest where they're from. So
very cool. Love that. Love that.
Good, good. So how's things going with the music career right now? Are you working on any latest projects?
Yeah, I'm actually in the studio right now working on my newest CD. It's going to be called Love Frequency 528. Which is really cool. It's about energies basically, and the whole idea behind the album is about the love frequency 528, and it's when you record in that key, a specific key, it's actually supposed to be the key of love and healing. And so that's what I'm focusing on through the whole album is love and healing, and a lot of the most famous artists up until now have used that key actually to reach people on a higher level. The Beatles, Rolling Stones, there's so many people that have used it. And so I thought that's really cool. I want to center my whole album around that idea. And it was very fitting with what I'm going through as well, because I'm healing from a lot of things too, especially with COVID and everything that's happened and just life experiences. So yeah, I've been working on the album. I have a new single coming out very soon. It's called Fresh Start, and it's featuring Claire, a good friend of mine who I'm sure you're familiar with, Juno award-winning artist. He's an amazing guy, and we are setting for that to come out very soon. It should come out before Christmas, and we just shot a music video for it, and we're just really excited about getting it out there. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to these days. It's been lots of good stuff, though.
I wanted to ask you, how long does it take to do an individual song and then to do an album? And generally, how many songs do you put on an album?
For me, I would say about 10 songs is usually a good amount of songs to put on an album, but you can put out an EP with less than that. 5 songs, I believe you can do an EP. I know it's changed over the years. But how I've been working lately is just doing things single by single. And I find that's kind of the new way of doing things. People release a single, and because of the way things are online now, it's a lot different than it used to be. You can just go and download one single off, iTunes or whatever it is that you want to use as a platform. And it just, it focuses on the one song, which is really cool. Now, in terms of timing for recording songs, that can differ. With me, with COVID, it was a little bit difficult because we couldn't have people come in and record all the time. We had to kind of go around the parameters, but it usually depends. In terms of creating a song, I mean, I've had the producer that came to work with me. His name's Paul Napash on Mike and Records. That's the record label I'm on right now. He would come and we would take about 3 or 4 days and we would lay down 3 songs within that time. And, basically we would come up with the main structure of the song. and it would almost be finished within that session. So when you're really in the mood and you're tuning into how you're feeling and your emotions and everything, you can get things done pretty quickly. So I find that's usually how it works. We just sit down, we start plugging away, and we end up, coming up with something really amazing during that time. So yeah. Well, what was your other question? You asked me another question too, I think. You asked me how long it takes, right? To shoot
Yeah.
an album.
Yeah.
And
Approximately.
for the album right now, it's taking a bit longer than I had anticipated, but I have some new people coming into the project. So things are kind of taking a different turn. So that's why I haven't put out the album yet, but it's almost finished. I have a few more songs to do. And it's taking a life of its own, which is great. So it's kind of growing different branches, which is taking a little more time, but it should be out very soon. The single will be out in December for sure.
Okay. And I was going to say, how many albums have you done in your career so far?
Yeah. I did one album with my first label back when I was first signed. I actually was signed to my first record label when I was 18 years old in Montreal. And I was signed to that record label. I did one album there. It's called Deluge. And then things kind of took a little turn. Things didn't go so well with the music industry, and I kind of got out of it for a bit. And I started working with different producers, and they promised me they were going to do things for me. They never ended up doing it. I had to go on my own. So I went down a pretty tough road for several years trying to do it on my own, but I never gave up. I've always had faith in myself that it would happen for me eventually. I never lost faith in myself. And just this past few years, I just got signed to another label. So in between that time, I was doing things on my own, and I had a single here, a single there, trying to get it all together. And I feel like now is the time where everything has come together. And I really feel like everything's come full circle. And I've been through a lot. So I have a lot of respect and gratitude for the opportunities that I'm being given.
And I was gonna say, yeah, the never give up. That's what my attitude is with my podcast, and my dream of being in radio is just to keep doing my podcast 2, 3, 4 times a day or a week, pardon me, and just keep getting great guests come on, and just try to keep improving. And this is something I really want to do, and that's something I always learn from my guests too about how they started in the industry and how you never give up and you just keep grinding away at it.
Absolutely. And I think too, being 18 at the time when I had my first label, I don't think I was ready for everything that it encompassed. You look at things a different way when you're that age. And I've learned a lot over the years. And I feel like now I've been presented with so many different opportunities that now is the time where I'm ready to really just take the reins and just make it happen now. I think I wasn't ready before. I think that's why. And now is the time where I feel I'm ready. So, but I always say, I mean, it doesn't matter what age you are, what time you are in your life. I mean, you could change paths any time in your life. It doesn't matter. I really don't look at it like that. And I think if you have passion inside of you for doing something, that you should be doing that. I mean, why not do that? Life is too short. It's too much of a gift, of a miracle to be here on earth to not do your passion.
Totally agree, and that's what I have found with doing this podcast and doing some camera work for Rogers TV, and be able to speak to great people like yourself and many guests I've had the last year. And it's hard to believe I've been really lucky to get some of the big names in pro sports to come on my podcast, and everybody's been great with what I'm trying to do as well.
That's so amazing. I mean, look at you. You're doing great. So keep it up. I really have faith that you're going to go all the way as far as you want to go. There's no limits, really. There isn't. So good for you. And
Thank
I'm really glad to be on the show too. I want to support everybody that's doing their passion and really just putting themselves out there in the ring,
Yeah, and when I reach out to people, I just tell them what I'm about and what I'm trying to do, and everyone's great. I'm not pushy about it, and I let people get back to me. And I would say 95% of the people I reach out to are able to come on my podcast. And it's like I said, I'm learning every time I do a podcast from the guests, from their story and their experiences as well. And I just try to learn to improve each podcast show as much as I can.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's all in the doing and the practicing, and you're doing very well, by the way. So
Okay,
good for you. It's
thank
amazing.
you.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I just show you a clip of your song to my
Yeah.
audience?
Yeah, for
No
sure.
problem. That's another great thing about StreamYard, like I said, with the video clips.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
1 second, and I'm just gonna play turn up the microphone. Can you hear it okay?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
I'm telling you all the things I believe. You say you have no time, that means nothing to me. Gonna tell you what you don't wanna hear, so you better listen up, I'ma be real clear. Your eyes are closed, yeah. There's no need to be scared if you listen to me. This time, there's no weakness in showing that you care. I'm gonna turn up the microphone, make every moment feel less alone. There's more to me than you see, so open your eyes. I wanna keep on going, whether you like it or not. I'm gonna turn up the microphone, make every moment feel less alone. I don't care whether you like it or not. I don't care whether you like it or not. These words when I speak stay my case, so it seems. Still feel there's something I'm just not getting. You looked at me like I was a freak. Letting out how I feel doesn't mean that I'm weak. Your eyes are closed, yeah. There's no need to be scared if you listen to me. This time, there's no weakness in showing that you care. I'm gonna turn up the microphone, make every moment feel less alone. There's more to me than you see, so open your eyes. I wanna keep on going, whether you like it or not. I'm gonna turn up the microphone, make every moment feel less alone. I don't care whether you like it or not. I don't care whether you like it or not.
You can hear what I gotta say. I know you can hear me out loud and clear. You can't deny it, you know I got it. So don't be hating on me, don't be hating on me.
I'm gonna turn up the microphone, make every moment feel less alone. There's more to me than you see, so open your eyes. I wanna keep on going, whether you like it or not. I'm gonna turn up the microphone, make every moment feel less alone. I don't care whether you like it or not. I don't care whether you like it or not.
Anyways, that clip is courtesy of your Shauna Brown YouTube channel. And I was gonna say, that song is catchy and very positive and upbeat, and that's the kind of music I like to listen to. Positive, upbeat music.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, that's my lyric video actually that I did for that song. There's an actual music video for it too. But the lyric video I'm very proud of too, because you can see the lyrics, you can see what I'm saying. So that was cool that you played the lyric video. I appreciate that. There's another one for that song on there too. So I encourage you all to check that out as well.
And I've got your website on here too, shaunamusic.com as well, on the little ticker below.
Yes, yes, yes.
So how did that song come about, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. This is a song that I was thinking about actually quite a while ago when I was recording my first album. And it was something that I had in the back of my head. And I thought that's the next song that I wanted to do. But it ended up getting pushed aside for a bit. And then I brought it back into the picture. And it's basically just talking about using your voice. When you have something to say, always, to turn your microphone up as loud as possible, to use your voice as loud as possible. We have an obligation in this world to stand up for the things that we feel passionate about. And just talking about not taking everything at face value. I've had a lot of people look at me and the way I look, or look at the whole package and kind of expect nothing to be there depth wise, or looking at me from face value and not really knowing what's happening behind that, and what's happening in the world and in my personality in my life. So basically just saying, you know, if you've got something to say and people don't want to hear it, well, that doesn't mean that you should shut down. You should turn your microphone up louder. Keep turning it up louder. And also, it's talking about women too, about women and their rights. And over the years, we've gotten stronger, and our voice has gotten stronger. And I feel like that's my way of telling them and myself to keep pushing and to keep turning our microphones up. We have something to say, and we should be heard.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why, like you said, that song is gonna be in my head the rest of the day because, like I said, it's a very catchy song and upbeat and positive, and that kind of music I really like.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I tried to explain it as best I could
Yep,
as
yep.
it was coming to my head. But
So,
yeah, that's basically what that song is about. And it's an upbeat song, and just, you know, saying, this is me, you know, unapologetically me.
and one thing I've learned too from people from other professions on here, no matter what you do, be yourself. Don't be somebody you're not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so important.
Okay, I'm just gonna get into the questions now, Shauna. Is that okay?
Yeah. For sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
The first one I'd like to ask you is, can you just tell my audience here, and I'm based out of Guelph, just a little bit about yourself, and when did you decide you wanted to pursue a career in the music entertainment industry?
Okay. So I am originally from a small town called Wolfville. Wolf as in like, ow, wolf.
Oh, okay.
Wolfville. And it's in Nova Scotia. And I grew up there. It was a great place to grow up. Made me very creative because we didn't really have a whole lot of entertainment there, so we had to make our own entertainment. Um, so it's a town in Nova Scotia, and there's a university there called Acadia. That's where I grew up until I was about 17, 18. Then I went to a school in New York called AMDA, American Musical Dramatic Academy. I had been singing and dancing and acting my whole life up until then. So I auditioned for this school, which was in New York. I got into the school with a scholarship, a full scholarship. And I was one of two from Canada that were in that school. So it was really, really cool. I would go to school. I would see Jack Nicholson getting his bagels in the morning when I would go back and forth to school. You know, I remember seeing Angelina Jolie, and this is right when before she blew up really huge. And it was a very cool experience for me. So I went to that school for a few years, but I felt inside of my heart that I wanted to do all those things, but I wanted to be a recording artist. And so I was going to AMDA to continue on with all of the things I had been doing. I know I loved singing, I loved acting, I loved dancing. I wanted to do all of those things, but I thought, you know, maybe in New York, I'll find some way of making myself into the music industry and continue on with those things. Well, what ended up happening was a good friend of mine, his name was Tom Roscoe, at the time was in Montreal, and he was going to school as an engineer, recording engineer. And he convinced me, he said, listen, I really want you to come to Montreal. I want you to record with me. I think this would be a great opportunity. I've heard your songs. We knew each other already. And I said, you know what, actually, that's exactly the direction I want to go in. I think I'm going to do it. So I went to Montreal. I moved there for a bit, and we started recording a demo, 4-song demo. And one of his friends stopped by and heard one of the songs. And he was starting his own record label at the time. And just like that, I mean, it just happened that he presented me with my first recording contract, and things just started to take off. And it was really, really exciting for me. But in terms of knowing when I wanted to be in the music industry, I started singing very young. About 4 or 5, I would always be performing. You know, I would perform for my grandparents in their living room. I would have Tiffany or Debbie Gibson on. I'd be singing to it. I would have like a brush or, you know, whatever I could find to be my microphone, a banana. And I was a performer. And I just knew at that age that this was what I wanted to do. I knew then. And I kind of hid that as I got older from everybody, because, you know, as you get older, you kind of like keep those things to yourself a little bit more, but you still do them, but you just keep it a little more hush hush. But all growing up, that was my goal in the back of my head, going, you know, everything I did was about reaching that goal eventually. And it was always the thing that got me up in the morning. You know, if I was sad or I didn't have anything to look forward to. I would always have music to get me in the spirit of living. You know, it keeps me alive. It's my goal. It's my life goal. And so I knew pretty much at that age that this is what I ultimately wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, some people, I guess, in life, earlier in life, know what they want to do, and some people, like myself, it takes a little bit longer to know what they want to do.
Well, yeah, it's true. And sometimes you know in the back of your head what you want to do, but you don't necessarily take the steps to make that happen fully.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily let yourself go to that dream fully. You almost carry this sort of like, oh, I should be rational about this goal, or maybe that's not something I can achieve. You kind of start getting a little negative with yourself. But I found once I had my daughter, she's now almost 7. Once I had her, that was it. I was like, what am I doing? Why didn't I give all of myself to this goal? Why did I give it only this much percent? I have an obligation to this young girl, my daughter, to show her that she can do anything in this world. I have an obligation to her. I need to do this. I need to give my all to this. Like, and in a way, it gave me that young person back that I had decided when I was 4 or 5 that this is what I wanted to do. It introduced me back to that young person again and made me go, yeah, you actually can do this. What are you doing? And so I talked to myself like I talked to my daughter. I would say to my daughter, you can do anything. You're a superstar. The sky's the limit. There's no sky. You can do anything. And now I talk to myself like that on a daily basis since she's been born. And I just feel like it's given me a fresh outlook on everything. And it's just made me want to go full throttle.
I was gonna say I can relate to your situation because
Mm.
every day when I wake up from working, I work different hours, shift work. I wake up and the first thing I think about is my podcast. This is like a strong passion of mine, and I just look forward to looking for more guests, producing more shows, and trying to keep promoting myself on social media.
Absolutely. And I would say keep doing that. This is inside of you. This is what you want to do. You keep doing it. And it will happen. If you have it in your heart that you want to do it, you will do it.
Like I said, and I know you also face some rejections too, but I've learned not to take it personally and just, like I said, just try to keep on improving and keep getting great guests come on my podcast every week.
Absolutely. I mean, if you believe in yourself, that's the most important person to believe in you. Nobody knows what you're capable of except for you. Nobody knows. And sometimes we don't even know what we're capable of ourselves until we put ourselves there and we realize that we're capable of so much. And I think also too, letting go of negative people and negative things is really
Yep.
important too. I've shed a lot of those things over the years. I've had negative people come in and say, "Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you
Yep.
think you're going to be a superstar? Oh, come on. You're getting older and all of this stuff." And something deep down inside of me said, "No, no, actually, I still have hope. This is going to happen for me one day. I believe this in my heart and my soul." And if you get that out of your space, I mean, that makes so much more of a difference. It really does.
And that's what I'm trying to do with negative people or negative situations, to remove myself from that and
Yeah,
just focus on positive people. And like I said, every single guest I've been on my podcast in the last year has been so positive and supportive, encouraging. And what you're saying, Shauna, I can completely relate to.
absolutely. And just forget about all those people that don't get it. I mean, really, they don't understand your path, and they're not supposed to understand your path. You're supposed to understand your path, you know?
Definitely.
And it's not like we have to explain it to anyone either. I mean, there's people that are just going to choose to be negative and choose to not be supportive of you, and there's no way of changing their mind. I've kind of fallen into that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I try to explain to them why I'm doing this. I try to tell them how I'm feeling, but they don't want to get it. They don't want to put the time into to do it. So there's no point in wasting your time trying to convince people that you can do it because you
Oh,
already know yourself.
yeah. And if they don't believe in you, well, so what? As long as you believe in yourself, that's the main thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. My next question I wanted to ask you, Shauna, you already answered the first part of it, and that's one thing I've been working on is listening skills. So the second part of this question is, did you have any mentor or mentors when you were starting up in the industry, and also performers that you grew up like listening to, female artists or male artists?
Absolutely. Well, I would have to say my first mentors were my parents, because my mom, she is a very positive person. She's a really great singer. Also, my dad, too. And I would watch them, and they would always encourage me to sing whenever I could. My dad would write songs. He would hide them, but I'd find them. And, I would say those were the most important mentors, my parents, because they set the stage for my life. And, if I didn't have that, well, your parents have a big part of that in your life. So they always, encouraged me to do whatever I wanted to do and to fly. But growing up, I had a lot of teachers that helped me out. I had my voice teacher, Ross Thompson, who helped me hone my craft. I took voice lessons from him, and I did classical training. So I was learning how to sing opera and different languages. I was going to become an opera singer eventually. But at one point, you have to stop doing the opera, because then it's very hard to switch back to pop. And I really knew in my mind that I wanted to do pop. So I didn't continue with it. But I did do a opera set to techno hidden track in my first on my first album. It was Queen of the Night. It's actually the highest opera ever written. And I took that song and I put it to a techno background as a hidden track. So that was kind of keeping that in the mix of what I was doing. So I'd say Ross Thompson really helped me. And then, of course, the artists that I looked up to, I always looked up to Madonna. I thought Madonna was just so amazing. She just unapologetic female. She changed the whole music business when it comes to women. She just shows that women have such a strong voice, and we really do have a big impact on society. And she's a hardworking woman and isn't afraid to say what she thinks. I've always loved Madonna. And also, I loved Whitney Houston growing up, Mariah Carey. In my earlier years, I would sing their stuff. I mean, just the technique of the songs and how they would sing. I just really loved them. But there's a lot of different artists that have influenced me, even some underground artists, like, say, Tori Amos, for instance. I really loved her. I still love her. Bjork. A lot of the underground artists, I really took a lot of influence from as well. So it's a mix of a lot of people, really. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to ask that. I like to ask that question. So my next one I wanted to ask you about, this one is, what was your first song that you wrote, you remember writing and performed live? And what so far, what are your favorite songs you've wrote in clubs you've performed at?
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know if this counts as my first song, but when I was 4 or 5, I wrote a song called "If You Try, You Can Do It." And I did it with one of my best friends. Her name was Megan at the time. And we performed it for a variety show in our church. And we were doing a coloring contest, and we just were singing away. We're like, if you try, you can do it. If you don't, you won't. So, mommy, I'm going to do it. And if I lose, I won't worry. And so that's like the first song that I ever wrote. I think it was like 4 or 5. But in terms of on an album and professionally and all of that, one of the first songs I wrote with my guitar when I started playing guitar was called Shower Guys. And it's pretty funny. It's kind of like you're a teenager, and it's about, liking more than one guy, just kind of like whimsical stuff. And it's on my first album, Deluge. So I encourage you all to check that out. That was the first song I actually wrote with my guitar. So, yeah. And favorite song I wrote, well, that's a toughie. I mean, I'm really happy with the new stuff I've been doing on this new album. There's one song on the album which will be coming out, and it's called Out to Play. It's a really sort of dark, ethereal type song. I'm really liking that song right now. It's probably one of my favorites.
Okay.
Mm.
I was gonna say, and it must give you such satisfaction when it does, when the product is done, and then people can listen to it on the radio stations and on iTunes, etc., like that.
Absolutely, it really is. I mean, it's great to hear it and to see people's responses and see how it touches people. What I'm saying and the music that it's really getting to them.
Now, is your music just available in Canada, or is it? Do you have it in the States as well? Do you like have an agent as well?
Yes, actually, right now, that's why I'm pushing the release date of my first single because I have some new people coming on from the States that are going to be promoting it on the radio there as well as here. And it's just picking out which song we want to start off with, and we're right in the middle of that. So that's exciting. And that should be coming soon. We're planning on December having the first release for Christmas. So we're just tying all of that together, and it will be here in Canada as well as the States.
Okay, and I'll definitely have to look for it as well
Yeah.
because like you said, I try to support my guests as well, their work as well.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
I really
Are
do.
you're welcome. Are you still okay for time? I just have a few more questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
no problem. I was going to ask, what do you enjoy the most about the music industry, and what is the hardest aspect of the industry, if there is any?
Okay. I would say the thing I enjoy the most about the industry is the relationships. Really, the music industry is 98% relationships. I mean, it's not just about working with people and going home at the end of the day and you're not thinking about it anymore. Everything I've done up until this point in terms of my music has a story behind it. It has a connection with other people. It has an ever growing relationship, which is so cool because not a lot of industries are like that. You will have friendships and you'll have different experiences with your work, but there's a lot of jobs and a lot of industries where you go to work and you do your thing, and then when the day is done, it's finished. But I find that's the most exciting part about it, and also too, it's never the same. Every day is something different. It's not doing the same thing over and over again, even if it's doing the same thing, like going into the studio and doing a song, but it's always something different and it's always something unique. And you have a record of what you've done with that person. It's like you have this totem to show that moment with somebody. And it's not just like having a possession, it's having this memory that will last forever. It's so magical. And even when we're not here, it'll still be around for the people that come after us. It's so magical. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about this industry.
And that's sort of what I like doing with my podcast, of hopefully into radio, is every day is something different, and you continue to learn something new and a new challenge every day.
Absolutely. It's so cool. You never know what the next day is going to consist of or who you're going to meet. It's this amazing journey that I just feel is so great. I love it.
Now, in your industry, have you met anybody that's somebody that you really admired so far doing what you're doing?
Well, before I started working with Jacques Claire, I really admired him. I mean, in the 90s when he had, Let's Ride or, all those singles that came out, I always felt like I wanted to meet him or wanted to work with him at that time. And so getting to work with him now is great. It's so rewarding to be able to work with him. I would say definitely he's one of them. I've met a lot of people in the acting industry as well, which were really cool to meet. Just trying to think of who I would have. Jason Priestley I met actually. He was producing an episode of, I'm trying to think of it's a hospital show, Saving Hope. That's what it was. I was on Saving Hope as an actor. And so he was producing it. And it was really cool to meet him because he was one of my idols growing up. I mean, had a huge crush on him. I would watch 90210 every episode. I mean, so that was really cool to meet him as well. I know there's more that I've met as well, but I think those two definitely stand out at this point with who I've encountered. I'm hopefully sure there'll be more that will be even more exciting.
Okay. My next question I wanted to ask you, I think you've already answered this. How long does take to write a song? But what is a typical day like for an artist musician when working on an album?
Right. Well, I guess it all depends on your timeline. Are you doing it every day, or is this something you're doing on the side of other things that you're doing? I mean, a lot of artists have to do other things. It's really hard sometimes to just be focusing on the art. And if you can just focus on the art, wow, that's a really great opportunity. Um, I would say that. I mean, if you have a timeline and you're going to want to stick to that timeline, then what you would do is, you'd book yourself into the studio and you would, first start with your beat and then write the song over the beat. And, it's a process. I mean, everything can take different times. It's sort of one of those things you don't really know. You just throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. And that's how you do it. But I've been lucky to work with some great artists that we've come up with things quite quickly. I would say. But yeah, you're in the studio and you're redoing a lot of the vocals, or you're doing different takes of the song, and it can get monotonous. But the thing is, I love it so much that it really doesn't feel monotonous to me. You're perfecting this piece of art that it's bigger than all of you, and you just want to make it the best. You really do. So you spend a lot of hours doing that.
And another question I wanted to ask on top of that is, how hard is it to book a studio in the Toronto area, or is it relatively easy to get a studio?
Well, it's all about who you're working with, really. I've booked a lot of studios on my own without a label and just gotten terrible results. They're just there for making the money per hour, and they're not really emotionally invested in what they're doing. So you can get caught up in that, and really finding the people that are going to deliver things to you and you can trust them. And that can be really hard. I know a lot of people that have tried to do it on their own and they've just gotten burned. It's happened to me too. So I think it's just about finding the right people and finding the people that have a similar goal as you. That really, it's not about just click per hour making the money. They have a passion behind it. And once you find those people, I find everything else just goes into place, right? And right now I'm working with Paul Napash, who's the owner of the label I'm on. And so I'm lucky enough to have him produce a lot of my stuff in the studio, as well as set me up with producers that he knows that are trustworthy. So that takes the pressure off of me for doing that myself. If I was doing it myself, it would be stressful because you really don't know what you're getting into when you work with new people. And a lot of people are just out there to make a quick buck, unfortunately. Yeah, and I think you were asking me one thing I didn't like about the music industry. I think
Yeah, the hardest industry of the industry, if there is any.
Well, I would say this: it is a very cutthroat industry. I mean, one day you can get very emotionally involved in the industry of what's happening. And one day you could be on top of the world and everyone loves you and everything's going great. And then the next day it can switch just like that. Snap of the fingers. You really don't know what's going to happen. You can't set anything in stone. I mean, I've had projects where I was doing things with people and I thought everything was going great. And then somebody just decided out of the blue, you know what? I don't want this person on the project anymore. You're done. You're gone. And it's very cutthroat. And you have to sort of learn how to not get completely emotionally involved, because if you do, it can be really hurtful. And also too, people will scrutinize you on a level. They think that they can do that to you on a certain level because you're putting yourself out there. And so you have to be ready for that. And there's going to be a lot of people that don't like you. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to challenge you in terms of what you're willing to do and not do. And you have to be prepared to know how to deal with that. And you have to be very set in your brain about what it is that you want to do. And if you aren't, you can get very lost and very hurt. So that's what I've learned over the years. I mean, you just have to understand and almost make it something outside of yourself when you're presenting it as a product. Try not to take it personally. And people are going to talk about you right in front of your face, things that maybe you aren't ready to be comfortable with. I mean, they'll rip you apart. I mean, your weight, your looks, she looks too good. She doesn't look good enough. She doesn't have a brain. She can't have a brain if she looks good. It's all over the place. So you've got to be ready for that. Oops, I almost dropped my phone there. You have to be ready for that, and to know inside of yourself that whatever those people think, that isn't you. You have to believe in yourself and make yourself happy. And that can be hard. That's one of the downfalls, for sure.
So basically, it's a very humbling business. And from what you're saying is, it's also very important to have a strong support system with family and friends and colleagues in the industry.
Received a phone call. I apologize. Someone's calling me and it interrupted our interview. Do you know who I'm talking to right now, people? Seriously. No, sorry about that.
It's okay. No worries.
You were saying, I apologize. Repeat that question for me.
I was going to say it's a very humbling business, and also it's important to have a strong support system like family, friends, and colleagues in the industry to support you as well.
Absolutely, it is. And I'll tell you right now, I've been through some bad experiences where I thought people had my back, and they really didn't. And it took me a while to figure it out. But I see a big difference when I've let those people go out of my life, and I have really just let all the negativity go. And, eventually when people are pretending to be supportive of you, the mask will fall off eventually, and you will realize that this person did not have the best interest for you. And I think I'm getting better at detecting those people, which is good. And it makes a world of a difference to have positive people around you. It just does. I mean, I can prove it right now. In the last 2 years, I think I've done more than I've done in 20 years, just by having the right people around me and believing in myself.
And that applies to anybody and what they're wanting to do. And that's what I'm trying to do, Shauna, too, is surround myself with more positive people and eliminate the negative ones and the negative situations.
Exactly. I mean, if you believe it in your head and your heart, you will make it happen. You will. Those people don't know you. They don't know what you're capable of. Let them see on their side when you do it.
And I love proving the naysayers wrong. I love it.
Of course.
So, and I use that. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'll be honest with everyone on here. I'm using the naysayers and the doubters about what I can do is my motivation every day to keep me grounded and focus on improving on here.
Good. And one day, I'm sure those people will realize, well, maybe they know now. They probably know inside that you're capable of it, but they don't want to tell you that, because then that would be giving you more fuel for you to succeed. And a lot of people don't want to see people succeed, unfortunately. That's a type of society that we live in. There's a lot of people that don't want to see that. I'm personally not like that. I want to see you succeed just as much as I want to see myself. There's room for all of us.
Totally agree. And that's what it would be a better world if we all were supportive of each other and supported and want to see people succeed. I totally agree with you there.
Absolutely. And the naysayers, when they naysay, they're only putting more naysayer energy on themselves too, really, at the end of the day. Definitely. Right? How you look upon other people is what will come for you. So I believe in you, and I think you're going to do a great job. I having a great conversation with you and a great time on this podcast. And I say, keep going. And I'd love to be on again if you'll have me.
Oh, definitely. Are you still okay? A few more minutes and just get a couple more questions for you.
Of course I am. Maybe perhaps when I have more information I can divulge, I can come on and let you know what's happening.
Okay, definitely. Yeah. When did you, I was reading up that you were into acting as well and did some modeling. When did you get into acting and do some modeling? Was that just recently or that in the past?
Well, for the acting, I pretty much had the acting bug around the same time as my music. It kind of goes hand in hand. I wouldn't just be singing. I'd be, portraying the music video of whatever I was singing too. So I was acting all through elementary school and high school. In drama club, I was always, the lead of the play we were doing in drama. I was doing musical theater at a very young age too. So all of those things were together. And in terms of the film industry, I didn't end up getting into that until a little bit later when I came to Toronto. After I was in Montreal with my first record deal, I came to Toronto. And when I came here, I sort of directed my energy a little bit more towards the acting and the modeling when I got here, because I found that it was a way for me to sustain myself in terms of financially getting gigs with acting and modeling while I was doing the music as well, and staying within the same industry so that they could help each other out. And that's when I really got more into the modeling and acting. And modeling is really a part of singing too, because you have to portray yourself in your album covers and your photography and all of that. And I just found all of them together helped each other out. And I found it easier actually to do the acting and the modeling, just because I found it wasn't as hard to get people to be straight up and straightforward with you. Music is a little bit more difficult, and there's a lot more agreements involved with music than there is with the acting and singing. Some of the agreements legally for music can be very difficult to deal with. And so I was doing that, and I loved doing that as well. And it got me close to what I loved the most, which was music.
Okay, that's so the acting and the modeling career actually helped you with your music as well.
It did. I used some of the photography from my modeling shoots for my music back and forth, would meet people on sets that were in the same industry. So it all propelled each other. And of course, when you're doing a music video, you're acting in the music video as well. And so it just honed all of my skills and really helped me network with people in the industry with my music as well.
And you just said a key word there, and I'm learning this as well, is networking and building your contacts up.
Absolutely. Really, the networking never stops. I think that's one thing that I learned over the years is that, you think one connection or two connections in the industry and okay, now I don't have to do anything. I'm here. But no, actually, it's exactly the opposite. Never, ever stop networking. I mean, even if you're at the top, if you're Michael Jackson, you're Madonna, don't ever stop networking, because you never know what that next connection is going to mean for you. And that's really important, because it is really all about the relationships.
And I'm constantly trying to network every single day when I'm trying to get new guests on the podcast. And I'm going to be honest with you too. I've actually made some friendships off of this as well, which is kind of a bonus as well.
Well, that's amazing. I'd like to think that I'm in that category.
Oh,
Your friend
definitely.
now.
Definitely.
Okay.
And I like the
Good.
color of your shirt, blue. That's one of my favorite colors, and it goes well
You.
with my background with the
Oh,
lake in the back.
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I was
So
in a blue mood today, so thank
yes.
you. But yeah, I like to think that we will, that we're friends now. I think we are. I would say we are now, and let's continue being friends and help each other out. That's what it's all about, really. The relationships. It's really the most rewarding part too.
And like I said, every guest I have on here, I learn new things from them and their stories and their experience as well.
Exactly. We all help each other. We really do. It's
Okay.
important.
This next question I wanted to ask you, you've already answered the first part of it. So the
Okay.
second part of it, I always put the second part in. It's kind of a fun question for my guests. Do you have any hobbies, favorite cities you like to travel, favorite restaurants, and do you follow any sports teams, Maple Leafs, Blue Jays, etc.?
Okay. So first thing, hobbies. Well, a lot of the times my hobbies do overlap with what I'm doing. I mean, of course, I love to sing, I love to act, I love modeling, I love shopping and fashion. I love fashion.
So do I.
Yes. So, I mean, that's a big part of my life. Fashion is a very, very big part of my life. That's one of my favorite things to do. I'm not going to lie. But there's a lot of other things I'm into too. I'm trying to think of things that I would do. I love dance. In terms of sports, I used to be into soccer a lot growing up. I loved soccer. I loved figure skating a lot. I love skating, swimming, things like that. Just trying to think of other hobbies. I mean, really, I'm pretty happy to say that what I'm doing as a career is what I love doing. So it's combined, making money off of it would be just the icing on the cake really at this point. So I'm lucky to be able to do those things, and I get really involved with the photo shoots that I do. I love photography a lot. I like to do my own photography. I like to do my own makeup. Those are things I'm really interested in. Um, Artistic things. I'm a really artistic person, so that's usually where I end up doing things. I like to paint, um, like singing, music, dance, all those artful things I'm really into. In terms of teams that I follow, of course I do follow the Maple Leafs and the Blue Jays, but I'm not a huge sports person. Um, More so than anything, I used to sing "O Canada" at sports occasions. So like we'd have hockey games, I'd sing "O Canada," or basketball games. And so that was my way of being a part of the sports event. But I'm not huge on the sports. I know what's happening and I like going to a game, but I mean, I can't tell you all the details of everything. It's just, yeah, I'm not that far into it, but I respect it.
Yeah, I have a passion for sports, but I also have a lot of friends that really aren't into it. But that's okay too, as well, because it's good to have a mixture of friends in your life that either have the same passion as you or different passions.
Absolutely. And, I do know what's going on a lot of the time when I hang out with people that do watch all the games. And of course, I'll watch to see who does the national anthems and I'll listen to that. And, I do have a connection with it. So, and I'm proud of them. I think a lot of those athletes are putting themselves out there just like artists are. It's the same kind of thing,
Hmm.
and I have a big respect for that. I really do. And making their dreams come true.
Have you done a Leaf or Raptors game yet, or even an Argos game?
In terms of singing "O
Singing
Canada,"
"O Canada"? Yeah.
well, actually, I just sang "O Canada" I have a show that I do actually. It's called Talk with Shauna, and it's on the Fired Up Network, which I just started doing. And we have a show on there called The Blaze, which is all females, and we talk about our opinions about different topics. They've gotten me to sing "O Canada" on there, and I actually just recently on our Halloween episode sang for the president of the WNBA.
Wow.
And she said, "I'm hired." So I guess that means it's coming eventually. I sang for
Yes.
her. Yeah, so I haven't as of yet, but I feel like it's going to be happening soon because I'm in the right position for it. And I've also been asked to do it already by the WNBA president. So I think it'll end up happening. I
When
would really love to do it. I've always talked about doing it.
I think Toronto's going to get a WNBA team, I would say within the next year. There has been talk about that.
Right. They've been talking about Drake's involvement in that.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And
so I think I see that coming in the future for me doing the national anthem there. So we'll see what ends up happening this year. I have faith that some of those things will end up happening for sure.
and
And I'd
one of
love to do it for a Leafs game. I would love to do it. I've always wanted to. So yeah.
I should look at. I volunteer with Rogers TV for the Guelph Storm OHL games here in Guelph, and
Oh,
I should talk to somebody from the Sleeman Center where the Storm play their games and see how about to maybe even get you to come up to Guelph and sing "O Canada" for a Guelph Storm game here.
yeah, I would love that. I would love that. I love that. I just said I love that 3 times in a row. Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's okay. I repeat myself a lot, so but yeah. So I'm guilty. The older I get, the more I repeat myself.
That just shows how much I really love it. I just had to say it 3 times.
Yeah, because like I
Um,
said, they're always looking for different national anthem singers at the Storm games, and I'll see what I can do. I'll look into it for you.
Absolutely, that would be great.
Okay,
Let's do it.
one last question. That's it. Last
Sure.
question for the day.
Okay.
This one's really not a question. It's more of any advice for those who are watching that are looking to pursue a career in the music industry. And again, how can my audience find you on social media and maybe your website I have down on the ticker?
Got you. Okay. Well, first things first, I would say this. If you really feel like you want to have a career in the music industry, I would first ask myself why. Why do I want to have a career in the music industry? Do I just want to be famous, or is this in my heart? Like, is this what I want to do? Like, am I trying to make money off this? What is the reasoning behind it, really? First of all, I would say, if it's just because you know want to be famous, or you think that that's going to solve a lot of your problems, I would say don't do it, because that's really not what it's about. I think if you want to be in the industry, it's really got to be a part of your life and of your heart. And if it is a part of your life and your heart, and you really feel like this is what you want to do, and you're not thinking about being famous or um, being rich or any of those things, then I would say do it, because really it's a lifestyle, and it's, you have to commit yourself to it fully. And I would just say, network with people, try to talk to as many people in the industry as you can. Surround yourself with people that you want to be more like. Be careful who your friends are. You know, you are who your friends are. Go to different networking events with people that are in the same industry. Continue working on your craft. Um, become confident in yourself. And I would say those are really the main things that I would say. Maybe try to get someone in the industry to manage you that knows what they're doing, that can help you with the business side. And really, if you feel like that's what you want to do, then do it. Don't hold yourself back. Put yourself in 100%. Don't just put your toes in 10%. Do it all the way. And I would say, if you really feel like this is what you want to do, and it's not about being fame or money, I would say, well, then do this. Really do it. Because it's not just going to be one of those things that happens, you know, in 2 seconds and you're famous, and then it's not going to solve all your problems. It's not going to fill you if it's not really a passion for you. The second thing you said, I think, oh yeah, my contacts. So I have my website, my official website, which is shaunamusic.com. You can also follow me on my Facebook fan page, which is facebook.com/Shauna Songs. I'd love for you to follow me on there. You can find me on YouTube, Shauna Brown. You can subscribe to my channel there. I'm on LinkedIn as Shauna Brown. I'm on Twitter as Shauna Brown, as well as TikTok. You can follow me there at Shauna Brown Music. And you can find my music on all platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, all of those. And I would just say, I'd love for you to follow me on this journey, and just to be a part of this story that I'm creating. And I encourage you all to reach out to me if you have questions, or in terms of mental health. There's a lot of people that are suffering mentally with mental health issues. Reach out to me. You know, I'm open to all of those things, and I want to help as many people as I can.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, Shauna, I want to say thank you so much for coming on today and giving me an hour of your time. And I definitely would like to have you on again as a guest again, and we'll talk more about your next album that's coming up and going to be released in December.
Thank you so much for having me. You know what? The feeling is mutual. And I would be absolutely stoked if you'd have me again on the show. And you keep doing your thing, because you're doing a great thing here. And once again, I'm very honored to be here talking to you today. So
Well,
thanks.
thank you so much. And like I said, we'll keep in touch with you on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn as well. And I'll have to look for you on Facebook as well.
Oh yeah, don't forget Instagram. I forgot to say that. Instagram is my main one. It's at Shauna Brown Music. You can follow me there, and all of my links would be there for you. So yeah,
Okay.
looking forward to seeing everybody, and hearing everyone's feedback about what I'm doing, and hearing more about you as well.
Well, thank you again. Like I said, I really appreciate you coming on Live with CDP podcast. And after I get a chance, I will download this to audio. And LinkedIn is one of the sites I put my audio versions on, and I'll send you a copy of it on audio as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I loved the background too, by the way.
Well, I
Good.
guess it worked out. It worked out with your sweater, blue, because that's one of my
I
favorite
know.
colors. Yes,
Talk about color coordination.
yes,
Gotta love.
definitely.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thanks
Have a great
again.
day. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and we'll keep in touch with you on social media.
You too. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my podcast today with my guest, Shauna Brown, musician, songwriter, model, and actress from the Toronto area as well. I really appreciate her coming on. And again, you can check out her website at shaunamusic.com. And you can also follow Shauna on Twitter at Shauna Brown. And she's also on TikTok, Shauna Brown Music, and on YouTube, subscribe to his channel, Shauna Brown, and LinkedIn, she's on as Shauna Brown as well, and also Instagram at Shauna Brown Music, and Facebook. Her Facebook fan page is Shauna Songs on Facebook as well. Anyways, guys, just wanted to let you know my next live with CDP podcast is this Monday, November 15th at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 on the West Coast. My guest is my friend Aaron Sanders, the play-by-play voice of the National Basketball League of Canada's Windsor Express, to come on and talk and preview the return of the 21 NBL of Canada, which will come back on February after a year and a half off due to the pandemic as well. And also, guys, just to let you know, Live with CDP podcast, the audio version is downloaded onto Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, and LinkedIn as well. And also, guys, you can follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP. That's at Live with CDP on TikTok. And also, guys, just to let you know, Live with CDP merchandise, podcast shirts are 15, coffee mugs 15, and my new podcast hats are 18. Shipping is extra if you're out of Gulf and out of country as well. So, anyways, guys, just before I wrap this show up, I'm just going to do a little more sports news. And battle for first place tonight in the CFL East is tonight, Friday night at BMO Field in Toronto. The 7-5 Tiger Cats, who are in second, take on the Argonauts 8-4. 7:30 kickoff on TSN and TSN 1050 with my friend Mike Hogan doing the play-by-play call on radio as well. He does a great job, and hopefully the Argos win tonight. They'll clinch first and a bye into the Eastern Final in the CFL playoffs as well. And it looks like they're going to have a good crowd for once at BMO Field tonight as well. I wish I could be at the game tonight in Toronto, but I am volunteering with Rogers TV as a camera operator for the Guelph Storm Erie Otters game tonight as well. And also, guys, just some other news. Odell Beckham, OBJ, has agreed to a one-year contract with the LA Rams. The team announced the free agent wide receiver joins a high-powered offense led by former Lions quarterback Matt Stafford and Robert Woods and Van Jefferson as well. So the Rams and they added Von Miller as well and Cooper Kupp. So the Rams, talent-wise, should get to the Super Bowl this year, but my pick from the NFC is still the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's because they are the defending Super Bowl champs. They have the GOAT and Tom Brady. So, but it's still a good pickup for the LA Rams as well. And last night, guys, Miami upset Baltimore 22-10. Baltimore just wasn't ready to play last night. Lots of upsets this past week in football, and that's another upset as well. It just shows you any given Sunday or any given night in football or pro sports, you can be beaten as well. The Ravens are 6-3, is still a good team, but I'm not shocked they lost last night. And also some other news, guys. In Charlotte, they announced yesterday Superman, the sequel, began for the Carolina Panthers when they re-signed their former franchise quarterback, Cam Newton. He returned to the team that he led to the Super Bowl in 2015 with a one-year deal. The deal's with $10 million US for the remainder of the season. With Sam Donald being out with an injury, they had no choice but to sign Cam Newton. So we'll see how much he has left as well. So we'll see. And also, guys, the Guelph Storm are back home tonight. Friday, November 12th, tonight, 7:30 against the 3-7-1 struggling Erie Otters at the Sleeman Center. The game is live on Rogers TV. Yours truly is doing camera work, and also on CJOY 1460 with Larry Malott. The Storm went 2-1-1 on their 4-game road trip, including a 4-3 dramatic overtime win in 9 seconds on Tuesday night against the London Knights at the Budweiser Gardens. The Erie Otters will be having a new coaching staff coming in. They made an announcement yesterday, guys. The Otters fired their head coach Chris Hartsburg and now associate coach BJ Adams will be taking over as their head coach as the Otters are off to a 3-7-1 start to the season after 11 games. They've only scored 27 goals offensively in 11 games. So I think the Otters management ownership decided they needed a change, and it's going to be a tough task because they're taking on the 5-2 goal Storm today at the Sleeman Center. The Storm have already scored 60 goals this year. They're the second highest scoring team in the Ontario Hockey League after the Sioux Greyhounds. But the Guelph Storm have also given up 53 goals, and they do need to work on their goaltending and their defensive play. And I'm sure under head coach George Burnett, they will get that corrected. But the Storm are the youngest team in the league. 18 average age is 18.8. And actually, I'm going to put that up on here for you guys. The youngest teams in the OHL. 1 second. This is courtesy of my TV producer at Rogers, Neil White. The young guns in the OHL. The Gold Storm average age is 18.8. Ottawa second at 18.22. Saginaw 18.23. Flint 18.26. Peterborough 18.31. North Bay 18.33. Owen Sound 18.38. Sudbury, 18.38. Sarnia 18.43, and the Erie Otters 18.45. So the Erie Otters are the 10th youngest team in the OHL. Guelph is the youngest, and the future does look really bright for the Guelph Storm organization. Right now, I think you're going to see nights where the Storm can beat anybody in the league, including the London Knights the other night, and they're also going to have games where they're going to struggle as well. I call it growing pains, but they're a very exciting team to watch. So, guys, if you can't go to the game tonight at the Sleeman Center, check out Rogers TV. The guys there all do a great broadcast, including the producer Neil White, and also CJOY 1460 Larry Malott on the radio. He's been doing the Storm games for over 30 years in Guelph, and he's one of the best in the business as well. So anyways, guys, like I said, I think I have a little bit more news, and that's it. And we'll just see right here. Philadelphia Eagles. 3-6 traveled to Denver this Sunday at 4:25 kickoff to take on the 5-4 Denver Broncos in the Mile High City. Eagles are coming off a 27-24 loss to the Chargers at the Link, and also the Eagles announced they have signed running back Jordan Howard to the 53-man roster, which was long overdue because since he's gotten back in the backfield with Boston Scott filling in for Miles Sanders, who's hurt, the Eagles' running game has been outstanding the last 2 weeks. They had 235 against the Lions, and against the Chargers on Sunday, they had 176 yards rushing as well. So Jordan Howard is now on the 53-man roster as well. Anyways, let's see, guys. I'm going to wrap this up soon. I just want to ask you guys a question, CDP question. Who is the biggest surprise in the NFL season so far in 2021, and which team has been the biggest disappointment? I would say under disappointments, Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. And for surprises, I guess you could say the New England Patriots with rookie quarterback Mac Jones. He's progressed really well under Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, and the Patriots offense has been okay, but their defense has been great. So I would say the Patriots and disappointments have been the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs as well. All right, guys, that's it. I just want to say thank you again to my guest, Shauna Brown, for coming on live with CDP podcast today, and everybody who watches on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter live. Thank you so much, and I will download the audio version to my podcasts, 9 of them, after this is open as well. Again, before I wrap it up, guys, next live with CDP podcast, Monday, November 15th at 6 o'clock Eastern. The guest is Aaron Sanders, the play-by-play voice of the National Basketball League of Canada's Windsor Express, to talk and preview the return of the 2021-2022 NBL of Canada season. So anyways, guys, thank you again for watching live with CDP podcast or listening to it on audio. And I hope you all have a great night and weekend and enjoy the NFL games this week. And also, I got to let you know, go blue and maize. Michigan takes on the Penn State Nittany Lions this Saturday in Penn State in Pennsylvania out there. So, all right, guys. And like I said, we'll see you Monday night at 6 o'clock with Aaron Sanders. Thanks again for watching and listening to Live with CDP podcast. Have a great weekend.